Do you know what this is? Well, if not, welcome to Earth. I'm going to do Red Rock's favorite 20 Super Nintendo games in no particular order. We're going to hit on this natty 40 right now, and we're going to start the motherfucking intro. Think we've been half-ass formally induced. Yep. Red Rock's Cliff Jumper 1984. Oh yeah, the alcoholic Autobot. Like I said, I'm doing my top 20 Super Nintendo games. Something I've been wanting to do for quite a while, but there's a little too much of short half-ass editing that I'm kind of too lazy to do. But I'm going to be doing it with my buddy, Red Alert. So here's my list that I'm going to be putting up in 4 parts. I'm going to do 5 at a time. It's my personal opinion, not bashing anyone else's opinion, and this is only games that, of course, that I've played. There's at least 100, if not more, probably 150 that I never sat down and took my time to play. And I'm not going to be including any Japanese games or anything like that, because if you haven't seen some of my other videos, I'm a huge Fire Emblem fan. And I've played the 1 or 2 games that a Fire Emblem on an emulator, not knowing, some of the options, of course, but, using a walkthrough for some of it, which is kind of cheating, I think. I don't like to be like that. So they're not on the list. These are games I've played, and unlike the NES top 10 that I did, which I'm going to put links below. If you haven't checked that out, that's a 2-part of 2 sets of 5 of my favorite NES games, and they're pretty much in order. I'm going to flip-flop on some of those, but this has no set order whatsoever. I couldn't place, certain ones are easy to place, but certain ones aren't easy to place. And of course, if you know what most people's top 5s are, that changes for you as well. So let's get started, and we're going to do the first one. I'll see you guys in probably a month after I take care of all these videos and all the editing and all that good stuff. So yeah, there's probably going to be a lot of natties dragging between there. Let's kick it off with the first one. First game, Actraiser, is going to be a game that more or less would have been one of the earlier stages of me playing Super Nintendo. Video game store down the street, A to Z Video Store, had this to rent, and I thought the box art and what it said in the back was pretty interesting. And lo and behold, it's almost 2 games at once, to where you have your adventure platforming at the first part of the series, and later, after you beat the boss in it, you go to more of a sim RPG-ish kind of game going on, which I thought was very interesting, and it works very well with each other. Having this on there and not Actraiser 2 is due to me only playing Actraiser 2 once or twice. I played it on ROM and I never had it on cart yet. It's going to be a future pickup I definitely am going to get. This game is awesome. Down to the graphics are dead on. The music's, memorable. Difficulty, it's mediocre, especially a little bit towards the end. It gets a little bit harder. The controls are precise. I don't know what else, good or bad, I really need to say about this game. It's definitely worth a pickup. I don't know how the cart's going for on eBay right now, but it's currently on the Nintendo Wii's Virtual Console for 800 points, which is $8. So if you got a Wii, that'd be definitely something I would check out if you have the time. Unlike my Nintendo review that I did, this one has a little bit different stipulation, I guess, with my Super Nintendos because I didn't want to play them in ROM. I wanted to, or I wanted to actually play the cart itself. Here we've got Breath of Fire 2. I did not get to play this till about 3.5 years ago when it was released on the Wii's Virtual Console. It's a great RPG, and yeah, it's not the best out there, but the graphics look good. It's easy to play. It's got somewhat of a story to it, and a bunch of like secrets to find in it. And with switching your characters out and everything, I guess it was just a nice gem that I found later on that I was, a little upset that I didn't get to play at the time. It's not, like I said, it's not the best RPG in the world, but to me, it was just one that I thought, stood out to me. It's definitely better than the first one, and I think it was like the third or fourth one came out for PS1. It gets a little dumb, I think, after you get through the middle of it. Here's a game that's also on the Virtual Console that I don't think I own on cart. F-Zero. Fuck your blast processing, Genesis. Sorry, all you Sega fanboys. This game is something I still play today, even though there's not much to it, I think. It's just an overall fun racer for the Super Nintendo that's very fun to play, and it's got some challenging courses. I always find myself as going back and playing it on the Virtual Console. I might spend like 15 or 20 minutes, but I guess it's on this list because of its, for the repeat plays that I get out of it. It's definitely something I enjoy playing. And, I don't mind picking it up. It at least gets played once a month. And it's been like that ever since I've had it downloaded. For how many games that I have compared to, everybody else's collections, if you pick up a game at least once a month and screw around with it for 15 and 20 minutes, it's a good game. It's another one, it was one of the first releases, I think, in Super Nintendo. It was within like the first 30 or 40 games. I'd have to go back and look at the records, and it still holds true to the graphics and everything. There was an F-Zero release for GameCube that I was not so good at compared to this for some reason. Maybe it's I just suck at more 3D games, which definitely kind of holds true. So if you don't own this, I would definitely recommend playing this. There's really only two reasons why Captain America and the Avengers is on this list. Number one being that my mom bought it for me for, what was it? We found it for $19.99 at Toys R Us. And number two, me being one to play it so bad because it was in the arcades. I never spent more than like $1.50 at the time when it was at the local arcade because, I was like 10 years old maybe. My mom's not going to shell out more than, $1, $1.50, maybe $2 if you're lucky on a good Saturday to play this game. And then for her to, be happy that you can get it for 20 bucks on the Super Nintendo and you can play it all day long for free, well, what the fuck? And I enjoyed this game, even though it's I think it's pretty hard in some standards. Maybe I'm wrong compared to what other people think. You know, everyone's got their different difficulty ratings. But I found it to be pretty on the hard side. I mean, those are the two main reasons I got it. And ever since it was downloaded back on my computer, I played it a few times. And Captain America is probably one of my top 5 Marvel characters. Make a video on that sometime. E.V.O, the evolution of Eden. Wow, what can I say about this? That I never played this card, and it definitely gives you like almost the total control of your character. You can decide which way you want your character to grow. It's definitely a nice RPG setting. If you had, let's say, a Final Fantasy character and you could grow it which way you wanted to with defense, speed, attack, yada yada, all that stuff. You basically do this with the 2D attack person you're using. It's a very enjoyable game, and it gives you free range to do what you want with the character. Like I said, I've never played this on cart. It's a very interesting game. Try and ROM it if you can. There's so many different combinations you can play if you go back and do it quite a few times. I think on eBay it goes for over $100, if not $150. I recommend anybody with a Super Nintendo or loves ROMing on Super Nintendo to check it out. It's definitely a fun game to play.